Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Influential Coach. And today we are going to talk about money and other ways to uplift, level up our life. Do you want, my dear guests, to present yourself?
Oh, yes. Hi, my name is Corey. I am a pharmacist from northern Wisconsin in the US. So it's about -5 and the wind chill is about -25. So it's a beautiful day to talk to my friend in Mexico.
Yes. What do you do? What do you tell a little bit about your story? I'm so curious. I want to know everything, but tell me your story, how you became a coach and what do you teach?
Okay, so I am what's called a community pharmacist in the States. So, I work in the public, filling prescriptions for people and talking to people every day, all day. And so when I first got out of school, I didn't want to be boring and, go through my whole day saying, Rita, take this medicine on an empty stomach. Rita, take this medicine, but don't take that medicine. I wanted to have fun at work. So when people would come in, like if you came in right now, I would say, Rita, that is the coolest necklace. Tell me where you got it. And so what happened was that people, started talking to me about their lives. Oh my God, we went to this trip and it was so cool in the Cayman Islands and we got this necklace or whatever your story is, right? Mm-hmm. And it began to happen really quickly that when people had a question about their medicine, they would call me. Even though when I talked to you, we had nothing about medicine in our conversation. And what I quickly learned was that people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust, right? So instead of being their medication advisor, I just wanted to be their friend. And then what happened was after a few weeks or a few months of doing this, I started looking at people and I started asking better questions. Somebody like yourself, I'd say, you seem like a really successful person. I can tell by the way you dress. I can tell by the way you carry yourself. Tell me what it is that you did to become successful. And people love to tell you about their successes, right? And then they would tell me, yeah, so then they would tell me what they would do, and then I would try to learn from that. But then at the same time, I would have other people come in and they would be just dragging their face and they're all down. And I would ask what happened. And they would tell me, boy, I made this big mistake and now I'm, this isn't working out. And I begin to notice over time that there are some people in this world who are just killing it. But most people are getting killed. And as a coach, I think that there's a lot of commonalities. The people who are killing it for a number of really good reasons. And the people that are getting killed for also a number of reasons. For example, people who are successful tend to hang out with other successful people. People who are unsuccessful tend to hang out with unsuccessful people who are going nowhere and who discourage them and things like that. And so what I began to want to do, I began to develop a passion for taking what the people who are killing it knew and trying to share it with the people who are getting killed. And I found that made my job so much fun. So when people would say to me, what should I do about X? Instead of saying, Rita, you should do this about X, I would say, I was just talking to this lady and she was telling me that when that happened to her, this is what she did. And I began to try, of course, a lot of those things in my own career, and my career took off like a rocket. And so that's kind of how I got into wanting to work with people. And I just really began to develop a deep, deep love for people because I found out something that most people aren't lucky enough to know. You want to know what that is?
Tell me.
To some degree, every single one of us is a mess. And to some degree, every single one of us is a rock star.
100% with you. I was really excited to have you here because I know I have a lot of questions to you. But that thing you just said, I was recording a podcast yesterday, and this is something that I tell to people around me and to people who work with me when they complain about not getting money, not raising not getting clients, whatever it is. They say, oh, I'm in this loop. I'm constantly failing. I'm starting projects and never finish. I cannot be successful. I always say to them, no, you are totally wrong. You are hardcore successful in continuing your pattern, in keeping going and not making the money you need, in keeping going and not pay the bills that you have, and keeping going and failing. That is a successful pattern that you have. You are obsessed, and well done for that. So now just change the values. So I think then what you did, it remember me a little bit, for sure you read already, the How to Make Friends and Influence, How to Influence and Make Friends. What is the title of the book? People always will love you first for how you make them feel. And to be honest, what you need is to listen to them with attention.
Exactly. I love how you said that. You know, basically you said that most people are successful at being a failure.
But it's hardcore successful. Sorry, I'm going to put my phone in airplane mode. And they are hardcore successful because you need to have a set of beliefs so hard, then you keep yourself, and you need to have some gain, something. You need to win something with that pattern. If not, the pain will make you to go away. And I found myself being very successful in different moments, negative ones and positive ones. So I'm very curious to know, so you are a doctor, but what are you coaching now? Tell us a little bit more about it.
Okay, so one of the things that I did was I had taken the advice of a lot of the very successful people. And so I started using that advice in my career as a pharmacist. And I became extremely successful. I was Walmart Pharmacist of the Year on 2 separate occasions. And I had all these great awards and so forth. But one day I woke up and I was completely and totally exhausted. I had put all my energy into being successful as a pharmacist, and 2 things really happened. Number one is my relationships at home were sagging and suffering, and my relationship with my own money had fallen apart. In 2008 in the US, we had a major real estate crash, and I lost about $400,000 in real estate in one day. And tried various things to fix that. And the thing that I was trying the most was to work overtime to make up for that. And as you know, when you work too much and you focus on the wrong things, and you're not focused on developing yourself, and you're not focused on revitalizing and rejuvenating yourself, what we like to call self-care in the coaching industry.
Self-love, self-care, yes.
Yeah, you're not focused on self-care. So you begin, instead of self-love, you begin to self-loathe. Because now you're working really, really hard. You feel like you're falling deeper in a hole, and you're making no progress.
And progress is what makes us happy in life, right?
Right. Well, you're making progress. Like you said, I was progressing really hard, getting deeper and deeper and deeper in debt. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, I got fired from the job I had at the hospital. And I was $536,000 in debt. And, you know, this one day, 2 days after Christmas, this lady who had been torturing me for 4 years, dragging me into her office and criticizing me, dragging me into her office and beating me down over what I considered just tiny little minuscule things. She just calls me in her office and she says, "You don't work here anymore." And, you know, I had put up with it for 4 years of her pushing me because I felt like I was in such financial trouble. And I felt like I needed to have that job. And I felt like if I didn't have that job, the world would come to an end. And then all of a sudden, I don't have that job. But the weirdest dang thing happened, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. She said, "You don't work here anymore." And I was instantly relieved. Before I got to my car, I was almost dancing to my car. Because
you are free.
There's nothing I can do now about this job. And, you know, it was weird because I had a date a dinner date with my family. My brother was in from out of town, and my parents and my brothers and my in-laws and everybody were there, and it was so surreal because I'm just sitting here. I have just been fired like an hour ago. No one knows this but me, and I'm sitting here, and it's just completely surreal. And they're talking, and I can see their mouths moving, but I can't hear any of the words that are coming out of their mouths. It was so freaky. And then all of a sudden, right in the middle of the dinner, I realized, you know what? Life goes on. No matter how bad it gets, no matter what happens, life goes on. So when I got home from work, I told my wife, or when I got home from this dinner, I told my wife about it. My wife was working when I got fired, but I didn't call her because she's a nurse, and I didn't want her to get distracted and make a mistake and hurt somebody. Mm-hmm. So I held it in, and when she got home, and I told her about it, and she's like, I am so glad. Mm-hmm. I said, what? And she said, well, this job is killing you, or has been killing you. And I am so glad. It's really aged you. And then she asked me an interesting question. She said, well, what are you going to do now? Right? I mean, you're just suddenly fired, and you can't even digest it. It's like, what do I do now? And I knew something inside of me said, you know what? Just take a week. The world won't come to an end in a week. Just take a week. Don't make any decisions. Sit on the couch with a notebook and write down, you know what? My life sucks right now. What do I need to do to make it better? And I realized at that moment that I was one of thousands of people whose lives sucked. And I knew that I wanted to draw a blueprint for myself to get out of it. I wanted to get out of it, and then I wanted to show other people how to do the same thing. Fast forward about 30 months, I'm no longer in debt. I have a positive net worth. My relationship with my family is phenomenal. And I am a pharmacy manager at a pharmacy that just loves me. They gave me the opportunity to start a new pharmacy like 6 or 8 months ago, and we're way ahead of schedule in terms of projected sales and so forth, using those principles but balancing them this time. And I just want to show those struggling healthcare people how to get out of debt, how to feel good about themselves, how to work less, because the funny part is I haven't worked 1 minute of overtime since I was fired. And I am so far financially ahead than I was when I was trying to work all the overtime. And you know why? Because when I was working all this overtime and I was stressed and I was fatigued and I wasn't doing all those self-care things that we were mentioning, I wasn't paying attention, and my money was literally flying out the windows. It was literally like having the air conditioner on in your house and all the windows open.
Oh my God. Oh, let me tell you a little story about me, since we are here. I know what is that feeling. Then your body is saying to you, you should freak out. And your brain is saying to you, no, darling, this is your opportunity. Because that is my story with COVID. So I'm a DJ in 2020, I'm a DJ since 2008. And I was touring the world. I had 2 years fully booked of events and etc. And in a moment to the other, I lost everything. And I had a big family. I was taking care alone, and it's in all of that. And I remember to think very deeply, like, I should be freaking out. And for some weird reason, I am not. And that is because for many years, since 2016, I didn't want to stop DJing, and I did want to become a coach. But I had so many people involved, and I really did enjoy to play, and it was really interesting. When finally I burned my boat, so I had no other opportunity, I found passion last year, exactly at this time of the year. And I managed in 5 months to produce $84,000 with anxiety, with panic attacks, and with loads of stress. And no self-love. Obvious, when you are doing that with no self-love and no self-care and believing that you need to overwork to achieve something, what is not true. and that set of beliefs take you as well to a sabotage. It was what he did to me. So I became very depressed. I moved to Mexico. I decided to divorce, and a lot of things did happen in the meantime. And I'm in a journey of self-love now. And now, instead of having an avatar who's everyone could come in, I have an avatar who work with people as you. So I help them to expand, like a tree with roots, to expand their power, to expand their influence, and to achieve more people and help more people. And that makes me feel even better. So I totally understand you. How was your money beliefs before you start working on them?
Well, one of the things that I think was really true about me is that I always wanted to be a nice guy. You know, I work in the community, right? And so I will have people come in and complain if their medicine goes up $1 over the last time they got it. And, you know, these people embarrass themselves over money. And I always thought, you know, you're selling your dignity for $1. And I never really realized that that caused me to not pay attention. These people are paying attention to their money, which you can pay attention to your money without selling your dignity, right? So one of the things I did is I said, you know, if I'm not paying attention, or if I think that it's okay to just charge whatever you want, I'm only going to keep going down the rabbit hole. So the first thing I did is I had to be honest with myself about who did I owe, what did I owe, you know, because I was getting really good at, you know, like how when you feel like you're fat, you will get really good at avoiding the mirror.
Oh, yeah. And especially with debts, that did happen to me before. When you have debts and you want to pay them, or you don't want to pay them, you just want to forget they exist. And it's really tricky, because if you don't talk about it, it feels like they are not there, but they are. Like they are. And it's really important to respect money. I don't think, and I'm so curious to speak with you, because one of my big obsessions in the last, since 2017, is understanding my money beliefs and change them. And I have been working on that, and I have been finding them, because I know it's my responsibility. What is terrible, but it's my own responsibility. It's my disc inside of me. So I have been working on money beliefs, and I have been expanding them, and I have been getting, you know, you achieve a level of money than you believe you deserve, and you can never achieve more than that until you change the beliefs. It's really interesting. And I'm obsessed with money in a good way, on the sense that I love the transformation that I give to my clients, but I love to make money, because now money is not an enemy, a problem. Whatever I pay money or I get money, I like to say, I love you money. And it's a very nice concept. And I know for sure you have even more tips like that one. You decide to focus in money. What are you deciding? That was the feeling that I had, but tell me more. Transform my life, Corey.
Okay, so the thing is that the thing that really fueled me to change was I'm sitting there on my bed. I don't have a job now, so I don't have to get up in the morning. And I'm looking at my wife. She's sleeping. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, you know, because I've been careless with money all my life, because I could just make it as fast as I was spending it. I just always thought, well, you just work more. But now I'm 50 and I'm getting tired, you know, at that point. And so I'm looking at my wife and I say, you know what? Do you know what you've done? Your carelessness with money has jeopardized her future. Rita, it's one thing to jeopardize your own future, right? And I realized that I did have this belief that I was always going to be in debt, because I had been in debt since I was 20, right? You know, I started with my first student loan. I got out of college and I was $19,000 in debt. And the thing about me was, to this day, I have never had one late payment. I may have borrowed from Peter to pay Paul. I may have sold a truck to pay some bills, but I've never had one late payment. So I always thought that I was just going to be in debt. until the day I decided that I wasn't, because I was jeopardizing my wife's future. I began to imagine her as a 90-year-old eating dog food because I worked myself to death and didn't save anything. And that was, what do you want to call my why?
Mhm.
And so then I began to say, you know what?
I'm obsessed with my why. We are going to work together. So I'm obsessed with the why, because if you have a strong why, sorry to interrupt you. I compare the why to a full address when you put on a GPS. Make sense?
Yes.
Stronger is your why, more clear is your why, more fast you achieve the address. If I drop on Waze or Google Maps, Merida, Yucatan in Mexico, I can arrive to any place. But if I put my address, my apartment, my work, I will arrive to me. So stronger is the why, detailed is the why, more easy we are able to achieve. And if we have someone then we love, then we feel, then we are hurting. I cannot imagine, I can't imagine because I'm a mom. So, but I imagine then for you, that was your gasoline, your petrol, your, right?
Well, absolutely. I really realized that I started picturing this woman, 90 years old, opening a can of Alpo dog food, shaking hand to try to, because her husband was careless. So then, of course, that's not helpful. That's not in itself helpful. So what do you have to do? You have to change that picture in your mind. I'm a great believer that the pictures that we create in our mind is what's going to create our life.
Oh, yeah.
So then I started picturing a different story. The 90-year-old woman, knowing that all of her accounts are paid, knowing she's got plenty of money to live out the rest of her life, and she's sitting in a nice restaurant and she doesn't even look at the menu.
Yeah, she don't look to the prices, right?
I mean, she just goes in, she says, this is what I want. Can I please have it? And I pictured her saying please, because even I think a little of me thought before that wealthy people are often snobbish.
Okay.
And then I started doing some reading.
That was a belief. That is such a tricky belief, because I like I said to you, I have been studying this a lot, and that is the reason why I'm so excited to speak with you. I never did like conscience realize that I did think people with money were snob or many times abuse other people. I did not know I believe in that. I was doing some exercises through tapping. I don't know if you know what is. And I found out then I had that belief. So Jesus, I will never want to be overrich, because that can transform me. And it's not true. The only thing money does is amplify who you are already, right?
Brilliant. And that is just totally the key, because the research shows otherwise. The research shows that people who are interested in appearing like they have money usually don't. And those are the ones that act like our belief. Those are the ones that created that belief for us.
The ones that say, do you know who I am?
Yes. Look at my $50,000 watch. Yeah. And the research shows that the average millionaire probably makes more money than a grocery store attendant, but probably makes less money than a doctor, and usually does a really nice job of saving that money, but also giving money away at the appropriate charities and really taking care of money as if it was a newborn baby. And that is the picture I began to develop in my head. I wanted to become the millionaire next door. Mm-hmm. And suddenly, what happens, as you well know, when you create the right pictures in your head and you start taking right action, then all of a sudden, momentum starts to pick up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so then when my wife asked me, what was my word for 2021? She's a big believer in your word of the year. Are you familiar with that concept?
No, but I can imagine that it is. I change my passwords each year, and I use my passwords as a uplift thing. So I can share now, because it was. I remember that the best year ever I had on the last 20 years was 2017, and my passwords was literally best year ever 2017.
Yeah, so that's the concept. So she asked me, she said, what is your word? And I said, accelerate.
Wow.
Because now I feel like a race car because I've done some things now. I've had some small wins. I've turned things around. Most importantly, I wrote down who I owed. And I started watching my bank account every day. Because before, I would avoid it like the mirror.
You are going to run away, right?
Right. And so what happened was I found out that we had 2 Amazon Prime accounts that we didn't even know we had. We had a subscription to the car wash. Like
Money leaks. Money leaks.
Yeah, money leaks. We had money leaks everywhere. And just getting rid of those. And then we started, we got help. We got professional help from a financial planner to help me figure out, how much could I spend? And we started operating in cash so that you could see that in your checking account, you would only have 3 or 4 transactions a week, whereas before you would have 30 or 40. And we could see where we were leaking oil. And then all of a sudden you start feeling in control because now you can do something about it. I think the big thing that you got to do if you want to fix your money is say this right out loud. Okay, the situation I am in right now is totally my fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the economy. It's not the government. It's not my wife or my son. It's my fault.
Yeah, it's my
and
own.
people don't like to do that. But here's the bonus. As soon as it's your fault, Rita, then you can do something about it.
Yep.
If it's the government, if it's the economy, you can't do jack shit about it.
You are powerless. You feel powerless. That is so true. And that is something that I always have in my life, thank God. Because whatever that happens to you, not for you. Happens for you, not to you. And the thing is, look, the same event, the same traumatic event, you can be in a terrible situation, then someone put you there. You can be in an abusive relation, but as well is your choice, like to be there, and is your choice to decide if you are victim or you are a survivor. And 2 twin brothers can have the same issue, and one come up strong and the other will be always a victim. So owning your own ass or BS, it's very important because without owning that, you don't take action because it's, oh no, it's the government. I can never find a job because I'm too old. So create your own job.
I love it. So that is really it. You start realizing, you know what, if this is my fault, I can fix it. And then you start changing those pictures in your head. So one of the things that I really try to do is, I really love to write. I have 3 published books and I have a lot going on that I write for articles and things. And so when I visualize, I write it out. So rather than just trying to visualize myself having money in the bank, I started writing stories, just short 1 paragraph about, and I would use he walked into the house and he finally felt comfortable. He was able to sleep that night like he hadn't slept in years because he knew that he was in control of his own life. And that changed everything for me. And what I encourage people to do is start changing the pictures in their head and the stories that they tell themselves.
Hello? Sorry. We had the technical, yeah. It is, sometimes I found that you need to dream big, and sometimes your reality and the reality around you and your peers don't have the life that you have the right to have. Makes sense what I'm saying? I'm explaining to you. I'm Portuguese. And I'm a very different, I always say I love Portugal, but I always say I was born in Portugal by accident. Portuguese mentality, I grew up in Africa after. The Portuguese mentality is a Latin mentality, but a very dramatic one. And the basic salary is like $600 or $700. Let's put like this, is 600 euros. And nobody can live with that. I don't understand how people can live with it. And what I found out is then if everyone around you is constantly saying and complaining, they don't have money, then it's too expensive, that infiltrates your epiderm, right? Your soul. So the way then I could go around it was I start reading biographies and watching documentaries and of women and men who came from nothing and make their own fortunes. Because if you don't have the peers, you need to bring that energy inside. Because if you just have broken friends, lovely, but you need to understand, then you need to want more. And if you need to know how much money do you really need to live? Where are you spending money? Because one of the first things to change my life was start tracking all the money in and all the money out. And not just tracking all the money in and all the money out, as well tracking offers and gifts then people give to you in a value. I'll give you an example. Last year in July, I won a mentorship from a big name. His name is Rudy Mayer, and $30,000. So for me, on top of my success in making $84,000 in 5 months, I add $13,000 because it was that success who brought me a team to work with me and make my product successful. But many people, they don't know how much money they spend on supermarket, or how much money they spend in ice cream, or how much money they spend in courses, or how much money they throw away in a casino. I don't know. But you need to track your expenses and your gains so you can have a clear vision. What is your situation?
Agreed. And what you talked about with value is also really important, because at some point we begin to believe that, well, it's only money, and well, I guess it just, I have to spend it here and I have to spend it there. But you talked about the word value, essentially. What value am I getting for my money? And when you begin to understand that you deserve to actually get serious value for the money that you spend, what you find is that you begin to have more power over your earning potential and your outgo, as far as you don't have to spend money you don't want to spend.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we feel we're powerless and we spend money that we don't feel that we have to spend. Like, here's a for instance. I had a cousin who decided that she was having a destination wedding. Mm-hmm. She's going to get married in Las Vegas, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of the relatives went, even though they couldn't afford to go, because they felt that they had to. And I didn't go because I didn't feel that I had to, because I changed my beliefs. I don't have to spend money that I don't have doing things I can't afford with people I don't care if I impress or not.
100%. One of the things who helped me as well, and now then I'm living, I took one year off my family. I'm living alone, and I'm in a self-love journey with a lot of ups and downs and pains and etc. But I was always a minimalist. And when I mean a minimalist is I moved 6 months ago to Mexico with a backpack, a computer, and a phone and a pair of shoes. What for a woman, you must imagine then is a very different standard. Yes. I'm not materialist. I don't own even now loads of clothes or loads of this or loads of that. I used to have obsession with books. Then I'm controlled now. So each time I buy a book, because I like to read books in the hand. So I like to have the books with me, but I will give to someone else and I will skip that. But is the materialism the way then you need to have, I have been there. I had the Porsche and I had the Rolex and I had the Tiffany's ring. And when I lost everything again, I didn't need to sell it. I saw how bad business I was doing. And it don't mean anything for me because I don't really connect the value. I don't get happy for that. What makes me happy, and I'm lucky, I'm very lucky on that, is simple things in life. Is to have this conversation with you who know so much more than me, and we can share the knowledge, is to to know that people are listening to our conversation and are getting excited and having questions and are going to reach out to you, and you are going to speak with them, and then probably you are going to work with one person, and that person is going to transform their life. That is so much better. That don't mean then I don't spend money in quality items, then I don't collect or quality experience than I love. I love to go to a restaurant and do not need to look to the menu prices. I like to go shopping for a supermarket without, I always control, but without thinking about how much money I'm going to spend. But I don't think that is wrong. What I think that is wrong is this thing in special now, then you need to have, you need to fill, you need to have a big house. I don't want to have a big house. I clean my own house. More bigger is my house, more things I have. I have 6 kids, 5 for my belly, 1 for my heart. And I used to, not now, because now mom have no kids. It's in holidays. But if you have 6 glasses times 4, believe me, they will make all dirty until the last one because they don't want to clean. You know, the mentality of the materialism of the Instagram of I want to look like this, I want to be like this, I want to have this. It's such, thank God for me, it's such a terrible way, because you will never feel fulfilled with the Rolex. That don't mean you don't have a Rolex. You can have it, but that needs to be the watch that represents something in your life. Then each time then you look, you feel, then you achieve. Not for the other ones. It needs to be for you.
One of the things that happened when we were digging our way out is my son, who was about 18, he backed into the garage door on the way out of the garage. And the guy came and the guy fixed it to the point where, you know, he could close the door and open the door, but the door was all dented up, right? And he said, well, I could put a new door on there for you for $900. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, we'll just go with this for now, because the old me would have said, well, I better change the door because what would the neighbors think?
Oh, yeah.
About the dented door. The new me said, and I promise you I said this out loud, the new me said, I would rather have dents than debt.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at everything in your life that way, when you have to borrow to pay for something, you are actually now living in the past because you're paying for stuff that's already happened. So if you are going to live in the past, it needs to be very, very important. Like you're from Portugal and maybe a family member is needing an emergency surgery in Portugal and you have no choice but to put that trip on your credit card.
Yeah.
That is different. But when you have to have that Rolex and it has to go on the finance plan, that's a huge dent, because there's a part of you that is doing that, probably most of you, just to impress someone. Mm-hmm. But you know what really impresses people? And this is true, and I promise you, what impresses people is people who don't try to impress them.
Oh, yeah. And
let's face it, we all respect that weird person who danced to their own drum.
Oh, yeah.
But we're all afraid to be that person until we are that person. And then what you find is really weird. One of my friends said to me, you know, can you and your wife go with us to the city about 2 hours north for the weekend and we'll have this big fun? And I said, sorry, I can't. I don't have the money in my checking account and I would have to charge it, so I can't go.
Oh, it's funny that you are saying that, because one thing I want to share with you, I want to ask your opinion. Many times the language that we use about money, we use it very wrong. I give you an example. I was in Portugal, but I was in Portugal on a big supermarket. And next to me was a lady. We are in the toys aisle. I don't know, the corridor of the toys. And a kid is asking something. And she starts shouting and say, what do you think I am? Do you think I'm rich? I have no money for spending there. What is not true? she have money to spend on that toy because she's going to spend that money on the supermarket. I'm seeing her card. I know she's going to spend. She needs to say then, I understand the nuance, but I decide then the best thing for our family at this moment is not spending money on that, probably on the future. Because in the moment then you say you cannot afford a 20 euros toy, your brain is getting the message then you cannot afford 20 euros toy, right?
So that is incredibly intelligent because number one, what lesson are you teaching the child?
Yeah, extra that.
And number two, when you say I can't afford, you're now a victim. You're not powerful. The correct phrase is just what you said. This is not the best thing for our family right now. Because now all of a sudden you go from guilt to empowerment.
Yeah.
And that's the real key. And one of the things that I find fascinating is when you empower yourself, you empower the people around you. Because when the people around you see that you're making decisions with your money, my friend who I told I can't go on this weekend, he looked at me and he said, wow. And I said, what? He said, well, because you were able to share that with me, now I can tell you when I don't have money and I can't do stuff. So by empowering myself to say, no, I'm sorry, we'd love to go with you on this weekend trip, but we can't because it's not the right time. I empowered him to do the same. And if you realize that with your family, it's the same thing. So one of the things I'm a great believer of is bringing the whole family together. And this is what we did. My 18-year-old, okay, this is the bills that we have. This is the income that we have. This is where we are right now, and this is how we need to fix that. Whereas most people don't want their kids to know they're in debt, even when
that I don't. Yeah, and it's really interesting because we want to protect our kids, but they will feel it. They will feel it. They will find their ways of, like, I grew up without a mom because my mom died very early, but I grew up, my parents were entrepreneurs living in an island with nothing, the middle of the equator in the Atlantic. And I grew up seeing my parents do business with the country. So buying flour and concrete and etc. and exporting cocoa and coconut and whatever. And I grew up with that spirit inside of me. I was angry to make money. My first company, I was a dog dealer. And I like to say this slowly because it sounds weird, but I was like a broker for dealers. I will for dealers, for dogs. I will advise you what dog will fit you better in your lifestyle and find that dog for you. And I was 19 and I was a teenager mom, and I set up my first company like that. The sets of beliefs that we give to our kids should be always what is real. So we need to educate our kids, not just to spare money, but as well to spend money, to burn a certain amount of money with no guilt, and as well to invest money, and as well to give money.
Exactly. And so one of the things that I found was that my son, I have one son, and he was extremely
reckless.
Clever.
Oh no, clever. Okay.
Extremely clever in ways of helping us with our problem. He looked at a whole bunch of our stuff and he said, well, you know what? I could sell this on eBay and I could sell things we weren't using. And we could do this and we can do that. And there were things he didn't need. And there was ways he could contribute and ways he could help. And then we would set a family goal. Like one of our goals right now is that we're going to Disney World in October. Wow. If we work together and make sure that we only go in cash and that we have all the money set aside ahead of time. And whatever money we bring with us is all the money that we could spend, right? And now what we've done is we've empowered him for his own future. Because if I don't teach him that way, and let's say I have a massive heart attack this afternoon,
oh, I hope not. Sorry.
I hope not too, but he doesn't know how to run money anymore if I don't tell him.
Yeah.
The problem most people have is their parents wouldn't tell them about money, and they had to find out on their own, and almost always when they were in the hole.
You know, I know, you're touching a point, then I want to talk. If you are listening to this and you are saying you have no money, I have something to tell you. For sure, inside of your house, you have cables, books, toys, clothes, electronics, then have value in secondhand, in special now. You can sell it in Facebook Marketplace. You can sell in eBay. You can, look, I made the money to start my business just for stuff that we had at home and nobody was using. I had so many people who wants to start a business and they have no cash flow. And I don't know if you know Gary Vee, it's a big guy there in the United States. He did this thing like go on Craigslist. How do you say it? Yeah. And see what people are giving for free and go and pick up your sofa and sell. Just hustle and do it. There, yes, you need to work hard for a little bit, but I want to share a story with you before I go deep in your content and what you teach. It's really funny. I have this friend from high school. We lost contact. She was my best friend in high school. We lost contact during many years. Then we became friends again. And my friend was doing a part-time in Portugal and she was getting paid 900 euros. That is something like $1,000. What is not bad for a part-time in Portugal? Okay, let's be honest. I went to Portugal and I asked her help because I know her capacity. She's a great organizer and we are hosting a party and a live stream. I used to be a DJ and I paid my friend 600 euros extra. And this did happen and I think it's amazing. In the moment that the money reached her account, she's getting inside of her house and I don't know why, but in Portugal we have this paranoid, then we have this peak, like, how do you say, not just the key is long, like the full, like you can explode the apartment, but the door will stay there. Right? and the thing is, she put her keys on the door and the full lock, because it's a lock goes up and down when you close it, is broken. And the full lock was for like 500 euros. As soon as the money reached on her account, and her daughter had the retainer for the keys, and it's broken as well. So it's 50 euros or something. What that means is my friend believed was she was going to win 900, maybe 950. And that was the money that did stay with her. Make sense to you?
Sure.
You settle for an amount than you believe you deserve. But why we believe that? Like, why schools don't educate kids about money? Why? I'm so obsessed with this because more I expend my money, I will give you an example. And it touched my heart in a very deeply sense. And I hope you don't mind that I'm sharing. Like when I arrived here, I had a big issue. I was doing an event for DJs. The DJs pay an amount to play and we cancel the event and they feel they need to get their money back, what I believe they do. And that exploded in my hands was a partnership between me and my ex-husband. And I was depressed already. I was feeling very anxious. I could not work. I had anxiety and panic attacks each time I listened my phone ring. And so then few things did happen, very curious ones. I was used to make 10,000 euros a month, right? So what happens is, point one, I lost my phone. I never lost my phone in my life, but I lost my phone. I think my subconscious would say, girl, you need some rest. This is killing you. You are going to kill yourself. And another thing was, I received money from my grandma, mother of my mom, that I never had a good relation with, in a moment that I was not expecting. And that allowed me to heal myself for 4 months and to put myself on the place that I can work and make much more money than I did before. The beautiful thing is the amount of money that I received was exactly the same amount of money I was used to receive every month. And I found that curious. right? We
Yeah.
have our own set of beliefs. Now, tell me, what do you teach and how can people reach out to you?
Okay, so the big thing that I get people to understand is that you have one incredibly valuable thing that you own. And you know what that is? Your brain. And what most people don't understand about their brain is their brain is incredibly powerful. Their brain is incredibly strong. But oftentimes what we do is we lock it up by the wrong pictures and the wrong stories that we tell ourselves. And what we're able to do is we're able to actually work people through what I call the Zen process of showing them that what anyone else did, you can do. And so, like you said, you got the backpack and the shoes, and that's it. And now all of a sudden, you make $87,000 in 5 months. Why? Because you took care of your own future by using that one thing that you have that's unique to you, your brain, and finding out how you could use it to serve you best. And so what we do is we actually get people to relax their mind. We actually get people to tell us the story about, okay, what is the life that you would want to have if money was no option? If I gave you $1 million right now, what would your life look like 5 months from now? Because there's a lot of people, they're surgeons, and they'd say, I'd still be doing knee surgeries, but I wouldn't have to worry because I would sleep at night because I don't have all the debts. Some people are like, you know what, man, I quit my job 5 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we say, well, why don't you quit your job now? Because if you hate your job that much, you're wasting your life, right? And so we actually have real conversations like real people, because I got to tell you, there isn't anything that you can tell me that I haven't been through or worked with someone who's been through that's unique to you. Do you know what I mean? I can tell you a story about a woman who had no freaking arms, and she made a fortune as a masseuse.
What?
Why? Why? Because
you almost kill me now. How? Okay, I'm curious. Tell me.
So she learned how to do it with her feet.
Mm-hmm.
She set up her table so that her table is low, and essentially she's sitting on a chair, and she had a massage business with no feet. With no arms. And so one of the things that I'm a great believer in is that you can tell me all day long about why you can't do it, but you're never going to get me to argue your side of why you can't do it. Yeah. And I'm never going to let you get away with it. See, I think too often in coaching world, people say, well, I wanted to be a coach. So I put out my coaching goal, and then I just agree with the person and I try to make them feel good and da. Well, maybe I used to be like that, but now I'm like, well, Rita, if that were true, then like you said, don't you have tables? Don't you have chairs? All that stuff that you said, that's what we say. And so the best way to get a hold of me is on Corey, Corey, Jahnke.com. And you can download my free ebook, The 21 Secrets of Self-Made Millionaires. And what you will learn there is exactly what people who make smart money moves do, and what my story is, and why you can do the same thing, and step-by-step how. And then invites you at the end to have a phone call with me. And when you have that phone call, we'll go into your story and find out where are your blocks. Because the one thing that I know more than anything else, and you already told me what yours was that at some point when we're struggling in any area of our life, there's a roadblock or a bottleneck or something. It's usually in our story, but oftentimes there's just that one bottleneck we need to explode. Like the mountain when they were trying to put the railroads in the United States in the 1800s, come up to a mountain, you got two choices. You can stop or you can find a way through that mountain, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you have to approach your life. The book Think and Grow Rich says very simply this. Basically, the people who get rich in this world, whether it's financially, relationally, or emotionally are the people who decide it's important enough to them and work hard enough at it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. I have a goal. It's okay. So I live in Mexico now. I was a teenager mom. I lived different relations in my life. And my thing is, I want to give back to the community as well. So I want to help women from Mexico where the level of violence and partners killing their wives or their girlfriends is very high. I want to give them the opportunity to learn with me skills that allowed them to build their own business online and get their wings to go free. That is my thing. For that, I want to start selling high tickets, not the 500 euros or $500 that we are selling now. And I want to achieve 42,000 euros a month. And why I want to achieve that? Because 42,000 euros a month is 1 million of pesos. And I put that in my mind. Do I need that money? No, I can live with much less, but I want to pay some debt than I have. And I want to live my life in experience, running the world, giving money to my kids, giving money to the people that I love, and bringing people in the experience, because there is where I like to spend money. I like to spend money in a good restaurant. I like to spend money in traveling around the world in first class instead of, things then I have experience and I know it's better for me. So if that is clear for me, how can I reach? So I reach out to you. What options you have to work with me? What options do you have in coaching now? Then we can share now.
Okay, so what it would be is we would start with the 12-week program. And one of the things that we would do is we would really define what does that look like? What has to be true in 12 weeks that's not true now so that you could get the goal that you're looking for? And then we're going to ask you to do something really incredible, is to tell me why you're not there already. And then we're going to recognize the skills that we need to develop, the knowledge, the skills, and the strategy to get where you want to go. Mm-hmm. Then we need to figure out, how do we position ourselves to get those? For example, a lot of people want to lose weight, but you go to their refrigerator and it's full of ice cream and cookies and so forth.
Yeah, many times people in money and weight, if you ask them how much money you want to make for months, they don't have an answer for you. I want to be rich. I want to win the lottery. Are you playing the lottery? I want to be rich. What is rich for you? Because Corey, for rich for me is probably very different than rich for you. And that is all okay, right? But
exactly. So we define very clearly what is rich for you and what has to happen to get you there, and how do we position you for that? For some people, they think they're trying really hard in their life and they watch TV 4 hours a day, every day. And
they are very successful watching. They're very successful.
Right. And so Albert Einstein said it this way. He said that you cannot solve the problems you have today if you continue to think about things the way you think about them today.
Yeah, so it's the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome, right?
Exactly. So you got to decide, what knowledge and skills do I need to get so that I can achieve this goal? And then you need to organize your life around that, so that you're not only organizing your desk, we talked about minimalism, but you're also organizing your emotions, and you're organizing your relationships, and you're organizing your thoughts. Then we develop a really strong strategy, mm-hmm. so that we can actually implement all of those things that it's going to take to get you where you want to go. And then the most important thing is we eliminate the distractions, the roadblocks, and the excuses that keep you from getting where you want to go. So what I just described for you is what I call the purpose formula. So again, it's prioritizing what really matters. It's understanding, why am I not there already? It's recognizing, what are my opportunities? It is positioning yourself in a way that you're going to take advantage of what you already have and what you can obtain. It's organizing your life so that you're really working on the things that are so important to you, and you're not wasting your time, energy, and resources on stuff that doesn't matter. You're developing a really strong strategy, because what you said was that a lot of people don't know what they want, and a lot of people have no strategy to get what they want. And as you well know, wishing is not a strategy.
No.
And then most people,
you need to have a why. You need to have a why as well on that.
Right. And that's part of prioritizing. Why is it, I would ask you, that this goal that you have for women really matters?
Oh, it matters because I have been in that situation. I saw friends on that situation. And I believe women with money can make more amazing things, can bring to the community, can spend wisely. I'm not a woman who spend money on Chanel bags, or nothing that is wrong, because I think you should do it if you like, but that is not my priority. My priority is experience. And it's kind of a selfish pleasure of giving. When you give something to someone and you see the transformation, you feel kind of a superhero. You have that for sure on you, because you work in such a juicy subject. I want to live my life with no debts, with no things to pay to anyone, with no one to say bad things about me on the internet. I want to live my life with being able to fly to my kids any moment that I miss them more than enough, than is constantly, and divorce my ex-husband and pay him what he wants. So, it's a dimension of funny things, or not funny, then are inside of me. And I'm not a big spender. I don't want to be, but I love experience. I love to live the life with basic things, but I want to get my backpack and go to Maldives for 6 months. And I want to get my backpack and go to Europe again for 6 months. And I want to get my backpack and I want to go to Madagascar. I don't know. If they have good internet connection, I'm a happy woman there. So that it is. And I want to finish this podcast saying to you, then we are going to work together. And I am amazed with, I want to learn everything with you, because one of the things that I want to bring in for my next courses is not how to become a millionaire, but tools who have been helping me. Because my pattern before was having a lot and spending as fast as you can, and having a lot and spending as fast as you can, and having a lot and spending as fast as you can. And you get addiction to a kick of adrenaline of burning the boats, and you need to go for it. And I don't want to be surviving mode anymore. I want to live.
Yes, exactly. So what you're describing to me is freedom.
Yeah.
And so what we talk about, or what we will talk about going forward, is what is it that's keeping you from that freedom? The long and the short of it is, what is it? And you've talked about some beliefs that you have that keep you from that. You talked about a system that you have of burning the boats. Mm-hmm. And so when you really dive down deep into that freedom, and you also then realize that part of the freedom you're discussing is legacy. You want to be free to build your legacy. Mm-hmm. We're going to get you to feel that woman so deeply, that avatar woman whose husband controls her whole life because he's got the money, she's got no power, and you want to empower her. We're going to talk about how deeply you feel her, so that when you get tired, when you get frustrated, when you want to go blow it on.
You were saying that because the first exercise then the influential coach have on the 6 weeks challenge, and I'm going to say to you already, It's not a board of visually, like you don't get how do you say, a future board, how do you call it, a visualization board. It's not that. What my influential coach need to do has a first exercise, and I'm just saying that to you already, is an achievement board.
Yes.
And we are going to do a list, or you are going to do a list, if possible in the image and visual, depends. If you get more by the audio, you need to record the audio with that. It depends what kind of system works better for you. Of things in your life since you are born, then you achieve or make you laugh as you cannot handle anymore. And that system is going to be the power tool then empower you when the way is hard, when you get a little bit too overwhelmed with your journey.
Right. And so that's what I'm doing these days, is really thinking about that guy I was talking to a friend at a bar recently. I went there because they were playing a trivia game, and she was saying that, she would wish that she would get COVID because she was so stressed out, or she would wish that the car coming the other way would turn into her lane. And I think about that, and I want to take that burden away from her. And you think about your person, and folks, let's think about our kids in that way. 20, 30 years from now, they're facing life, and we either give them the tools financially to manage their life so they can have those freedoms that you talked about, or we don't. And we teach things to the people around us by the person that we become.
Yeah.
So we're going to become a group of people who are high achievers that attract value and goodness, and use money as a tool and not as a weapon. Use money as a tool and not a distraction.
Money is energy. Money is just energy. You need to spend it, you need to have it, you need to save it, you need to love it. It's like a love affair. I'm so overwhelmed to even my father, like he's a person that I loved. I was saying that I want to make 40K a month, and he was, don't be greedy. See, I'm not greedy. I want to make 40K a month, and that is nothing. I see people doing 100 and 1 million a month. And I know I have that capacity, and I know how much good I'm going to do with that money. And that is fun. And then why not? My main thing in life was always ask why not, and what is the worst thing can happen.
Exactly. And you're only greedy if you keep yourself from achieving your worth and value because you listen to stories that tell you can't. You're not greedy if you make money. Greed is a totally different animal. Greed comes from, a thing that's talking about yourself. You're talking about helping the world, and you can't be greedy and help the world. It's just doesn't go together.
100%. Corey, we are talking for 1 hour and 7 minutes. And I wish we could talk. Maybe we can do a second part here with some like cool exercises, and we can hang out again. I want you to finish telling how people can find you online, and give us all your handles, everything, and then you give me as well through message. Then I will stop our recording and we'll have a chat. But just share with the world how they can uplift their money beliefs, their money life, changing their life if they are ready. Because many times people say they want, but they are not ready. I was scared of success. I was scared of making money because I knew it in the moment that I was going to make money. I was going to leave the relation where I was, and that will come with pain, not just for me, for my kids as well. So how can they find you?
Well, I think the big thing is that you want to believe in yourself, because I believe in you, and I believe that you can make more money. I believe you can keep more money, and I can believe that you can use your money to do a greater good. And if you believe in yourself a little bit, I'll believe in you a lot. And all I need you to do is just reach out to me. You can email me directly, Corey, Corey, Jahnke, Jahnke.com. I'm on Facebook.com/CW Jahnke. Twitter is the same handle, and Instagram, Corey W. Jahnke. And I'm always there to answer questions. Even if you think, man, I've got no money, this guy doesn't want to talk to me, just send me an email, ask me a question. I'll do what I can to help you, because, at the end of the day, the only thing that ever really matters is, did we lighten the burden of another individual?
Exactly.
And if we go around lightening each other's burdens, it'd be amazing what a world it would be.
Yeah.
So I really want to thank you for letting me be on your podcast, and I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you so much. Me too. We are going to say bye to our people who listen to us. We are going to chat, me and you, after this. Guys, thank you so much for listening or watching the Influential podcast, the Influential Coach podcast. And we did talk about money. So it's time for you to upgrade your money beliefs. And Corey is the person that you need to reach out to. My name is Rita Egidio, and I love you. I do today, and I will love you more if you come back to the next one. Thank you so much. I will see you or listen to you on the comments.